You ever filled through a children's activity book and you notice that little game where they tell you to point out the differences between two look-alike photos of like an animal or something like that? A 5-year-old is going to have an easier time pointing out the differences between that rather than an actual activity book you give to him. So for the first time ever, we saw a remastered packaging actually get delayed. Not only delayed, but also delayed indefinitely in the form of Return to Arkham, which was going to be a 2-pack that comes with Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City being remastered for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And usually these remastered versions of the games are very easy to just put out there and pump them out one after another, but this is the first one that gets kind of put to the side without any kind of certain future, and for good reason. I present to you Exhibit A. One of the many exhibits you'll probably be seeing in this video amongst others, comparing the original Batman Arkham Asylum and City on the last generation of consoles from the 360 and the PS3 to the newer ones, where people just don't get what the fuck is going on with these remasters. Myself included, because I just can't help but shake off the feeling that it's possible that some of these remasters are just ripoffs trying to get our money. I understand that's not necessarily a shocking statement to utter because an awful lot of people speculate the same exact thing, but with the actual shelving of the Return to Arkham 2-pack indefinitely without any proper release date, begs the question, have they finally been painting themselves into a corner where maybe we are catching up to their bullshit? For the longest time now, seldom do I ever get convinced to buy an actual remastered version of a game. The only way that a remastered version can actually work as an HD remaster of a game that is from 2 generations ago, PlayStation 2, GameCube, where it wasn't high definition. It was just purely standard definition. When you take a game that is like the original Halo and then remaster it in the Master Chief Collection and you give it a whole new level of polish that makes it look almost like an entirely different game, then that's where I think an HD remastered is warranted of a purchase. And I'll do you one better. There's also the case of the differences between a remaster and a remake. A remaster is when you just take the game and just polish it up for an HD rendering, where they just clean up a couple of things, but mainly they just broaden the resolution so that then when they take the picture and they stretch it out to 1280 by 720, 720p or 1080p, it doesn't look as blurry. A remake is just that. You are literally remaking the game from the ground up, and that's what they're doing right now with Final Fantasy VII, where they took that game and they're just looking at the blueprint and now they are building it from the ground up. They're building brand new assets. They're not just taking the originals and cleaning them up. They're making brand new ones, and that's why so many people are stoked for that game, because it's not just the turn-based game that they knew from the 90s where it's all blocky. Like they literally have arms that walk like this. The whole game is going to look like those cinematics that Square Enix is known for, those Final Fantasy games. That for sure warrants a purchase. Shit like this, no. I will confess there's only one remaster that I currently own. I have not played it, but that's just it. It's because I actually want to revisit this game. This game had such an affecting, lasting appeal to me that I actually want to revisit the game, but at the same time, I saw the PS4 remaster version of this game at a very cheap price. I think it was like 15 bucks, 15, 16 bucks, and so I nabbed it, and that is The Last of Us, because it's a worthwhile game. And plus, I hear that they did do some things with the textures as well as the frame rate that did improve it, so I'm looking forward to that. Most of the time, there's a couple of details here and there that I noticed that are a little bit different. Like, for example, here I'm going to show an image of the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection that was brought to the PS4, which is all 3 Uncharted games without the multiplayer ported over to the latest Sony console. And some things here and there, like Nathan's hair, stuff like that, do look a little bit nice, but for the most part, it just looks like they took the game, made it a little brighter, changed a couple of things like some of the water, some of the smoke and fire effects, but besides that, it's still the same game, so I didn't see myself buying it for like 40 bucks, let alone 60 bucks. So do not get me started on Return to Arkham, where the majority of the shots look like they just changed the lighting, they changed a little bit of the opacity, and of course we have shots like this with Hugo Strange where it just looks shittier. It's like they got it backwards. The original looks more realistic, whereas the remaster looks like he has plastic surgery. The eyebrows, the beard, there's not even a reflection of the character that is used as the first person perspective within his glasses. That is clearly missing from the original and the code. There's absolutely no kind of lighting or shading on the code that even makes it look real. It just looks like a tarp. So shit like this does get me kind of pissed off because it just makes me feel like they're trying to trick us, but we know better. And I feel like with the Return to Arkham package, we have finally caught up to them, and that's why they definitely pushed this to the side indefinitely, because they knew that they couldn't tarnish a name like Batman with a very shitty remastered, and they just couldn't afford to take that chance. But it definitely doesn't make the case of feeling like remasters or ripoffs any better. The only one that I think can maybe have just a tiny bit of promise would have to be Skyrim Special Edition. That was the last known case where I looked at the trailer, they started to show the PS3 footage, and I'm like, okay, you know, for comparison's sake, it's probably going to be the same thing where they change a little bit of the lighting, a couple textures here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be the same type of remastered that we have gotten for the past. Oh my god! My jaw seriously did drop. It really did look like a brand new game. $60 though. We're barely getting deals on GTA 5 for the PS4 Xbox One, so who am I kidding? So guys, please tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of the remaster trend that has been happening for the past couple of years? I know that it's a topic that's not necessarily new, but I do think that it does bring up an interesting point with, I don't want to say Rockstar, I think it's Blue Point Games. I can't remember what development company is in charge of the remastered for the Return to Arkham, but it's definitely an interesting thing to take note of, them actually pulling the game from, or pulling the remastered from development and just not giving it a release date and bringing up the question of whether or not it's going to come out and whether or not we have caught up with their bullshit in this remastered trend of just grabbing our money by just changing a little bit of the lighting and passing it off as a brand new game. Let alone a remastered that is charging you for the exact same price that you played a couple years back just so that you can play it on the PS4 instead of just giving you an excuse to just bring up the PS3. I still have, right here I have my PS4, over here I have my PS3. If I have to play a PS3 that I don't feel the necessity to get a remaster for, just hook this bad boy up again, you're good to go. Please like the video, share it, comment, and subscribe for future videos tackling all the latest things relating to gaming as well as movies. Hopefully I can talk about some more movies and stuff like that. But hey, Comic-Con is right around the corner, so I'm expecting that to fix that. See you guys later. Take care.